TV business or TV news. I can tell you that Are you ready to record? You're recording?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
recording.
Good. I can tell you that. Have a seat if you like. Kind of the flavor of the week, the thing that everybody's thinking about right now in terms of the future, in terms of certainly in terms of technology driving it, is mobile. That is, being able to report from anywhere. It used to be a really big deal, but now with technology as simple as your iPhone, you can report with high quality video from anywhere on Earth to anywhere, and you can broadcast it to a huge audience through Facebook or other means. And I think we'll see more and more of that. You can conduct interviews with people long distance using phones, Skype, or any of another number of technologies like that. The great challenges of journalism remain the same, though, and I think this is somewhere in which the volunteer or civilian reporter, the eye on the scene that everybody seems to want to be now, comes up a little bit short in terms of they don't have all of the training and education that journalism majors have to know the importance of getting their facts right. Technology makes it more and more easy, and has for a long time made it easy to report things and show things that are happening in the world much faster than you can find out the truth behind the action, find out the whys and the what's really happening. We see the results of things. We don't know what happened that led up to that. Perfect example would be this Las Vegas shooter some weeks back. We see lots and lots of video that people shot on phones of what it was like to experience it. We don't know, and we didn't know the day after or while it was going on, enough facts to really have very much of a story. The power of mobile journalism in all its forms is that we can see in a live, or in at least a very timely fashion, things that are happening. But you really see the results. You see the symptoms. You don't see the cause. And those are the things that, in terms of traditional journalism, are equally important. The why something is happening, the what is happening, the context of it, and the overall texture of what makes the news. So that's going to be a challenge going forward in terms of getting the story right, and being having responsible and trained voices to go along with pictures from the field and where the action is, to go along with all the other video that might come in. It's in this country, we've had television for a long time, and the means to not only to go where the news is, show the pictures of what's happening in the news, and also for the mass population to get to see it. In many parts of the world, all of that is new. In a lot of parts of the world, people live in places where they just don't have television. To a great extent, sometimes even in major population areas. In America, it's like everybody's got a TV in their house, everybody's got a screen, and you see more and more of that in other parts of the world, but certainly not everybody, and it's very new, and it's coming along at the same time that that some pretty wild efforts of journalism are coming along, and not everybody in the world has the long tradition and culture that I think, as a journalism teacher and the like. I think we want to teach and take some pride in it. The new thing for so many places misses some of that tradition, and again, you just see the results. You don't see the cause. That can be very frightening to people. Some things that are in television are well researched. in this country, even though it's not necessarily understood by or even known by the general population watching television, is kind of some of the effects it has on people. You know, when we show violence in the streets, and we show warfare and the like, it can make people think that the world is a lot more dangerous and meaner place than it really is. And it can scare people and make them scared of other people, whereas if they weren't exposed to that, they'd probably be pretty welcoming to other people. And they probably wouldn't be any more likely to be victims of any kind of violence or crime or revolution or governments fighting against revolution than they are. You know, the exposure to it through a little screen, through either a little screen or a little bit bigger screen or way big screen, you're really about as likely either way to be a victim. And the reality is, you're not all that likely to be a victim. Some parts of the world, yeah, it's very likely. But it can frighten people. It can give people negative impressions about other people and other groups. And you know, those are dangers that we'll just have to work out. You know, brave and wise people will have to help us with that, and we'll have to know who to trust. And you don't always know who to trust nowadays, or through a mediated world. As for the television news business in this country, there's always a sense that, well, you hear truthful accounts on how ratings are down for, you know, the television networks and the like, and ratings are down for things like football on television. It's not necessarily the fact that people are turning their backs on things that they apparently used to like. It's that they have so many other things to do, and that they've got so many other screens they can watch. They're probably have many of the same interests they had before, and they don't suddenly necessarily dislike things they liked before. But the advertiser financed media, it makes it tough for them to stay in business. As long as there are people watching screens, whether they're that size or this size or this size, the kind of things that we learn and teach in journalism school will still be important. People are still going to be telling stories. Hopefully, from my point of view, they'll be telling complete stories that are truthful rather than the so-called fake news. They'll have good fact-based reporting, and they will have honest intentions and not some political or social axe to grind or political or social positions that they're advocating in such a fashion that they think that ends justify the means. It's fine to play dirty. There'll still be a lot of place for this kind of work. Again, compared to the amateur reporter, there's got a sign up there on the wall that says that something to the effect of photographs are the truth. You know, pictures don't lie, and that film, motion pictures, are the truth at 24 frames a second. Video is the truth at 30 frames a second. It's an appealing aphorism, but the reality is, and this kind of ties in with something I've been saying all along, the reality is that pictures, they don't lie, but they don't convince you of the truth either. Without some additional context and some explaining what's happening in the picture, there's not a story. And it's important for us to find out what the real facts are, what the truthful story is, present that to the public, and not just some possibly misleading video.
Yeah, got it.
Do you have further questions?
Yeah, you mentioned about the technologies. So, since we have like mobile phones, cell phones, and we have like news apps.
Absolutely. In terms of receiving news and news apps, it's a great technology. The threat there is, the possible downside of it is, if we tailor our news to our interests, we may be missing really important things.
Yeah.
A lot of things that people learn in the real world and not in school where they're having somebody lecture to them about something. You learn by accident. You stumble on things. You know, you find out about new music and new songs from listening to the radio where somebody's, you know, playing stuff that you might not have gone looking for yourself. And that's how you find out about, you know, new songs, new musical groups and the like. And the same thing is true of really every category of life as it's presented through mass media. If you pick everything for yourself, you run the risk of being completely blind to things that you might be really interested in, things that might create opportunities for you, things that might change your life in a positive way. You might miss those things because you're only picking out the things that you think you like.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. Okay. Nothing else?
I think I'm good. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Enjoy talking with you. Always fun.
Thank you.
You bet.